now. All right. So I think this question has been here for a while. It says, how do I get information about virtual sessions for graduate schools in US universities for free application? Then secondly, do universities in Canada do the same? Someone has been posting about virtual sessions on the group. Do you want to talk about that? I think that's is that Moses? Not sure who, you know. I'm trying to see who has the best answer to this now.
I think we can just answer that question. So if you follow the group, and even a lot of these days will have a lot of information that floats about. Some people compile a list of schools that have different application waiver code. Then sometimes you might just need to contact a graduate program coordinator of the school you are interested in. So there are different ways to get uh, waiver code for the school you are interested in. Some school will say that they don't give it. Some programs will give it, not at a school level. But once you are active on the group, when admission time like there's always a time that this admission thing gets so hot, you see people posting that, then you just grab that opportunity. Else you need to contact a school you're applying to, asking them if they have any code that they give. Sometimes they give the code because you attended a section, so they will tell you that, okay, attend this section, then you're going to get the code, just for a way to get attendance for that program. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
I can just answer the next question.
Okay.
They say, is it possible to have an interview with a professor and not get accepted? The straight answer is yes, it's possible. We have seen that happen. So we try to, what we do in this mentorship, we try to assist our students or assist them in doing mock interviews. And I think that has really helped a lot. Although even with a mock interview, we see people who after the process they did not get, but a lot of people that we did mock interview with, they also got. So like, again, you just do your part. You do your part. Anytime you get to an interview level, you see it as the final stroke. So do your part, get all the information you need to get, because it's you, it's one-on-one now. I can prepare you on a mock interview, but when you get there, you still follow your own path, and the person may not like that. So it happens, yeah.
Thank you, sir. So this one says, please, did you say we must address the prof by his last name?
I think for somebody who you have not met before, and for the type of respect that we Africans have, yes. When you want to address, let's say you want to address me as a potential supervisor, in that email, just go ahead and say Professor Nzediegu. I think it doesn't bite, right? It doesn't bite. Then some professors, like my supervisor, when I was in my postdoc and my postdoc, I call my supervisor Professor Chang every time, Professor Chang. But it came to a time I was the only person in the lab that calls him Professor Chang, right? But it came to a time he felt like other students were not calling him by his last name, by his title. And he told me to please, I should just call him by his first name. I struggle with that. I told him that, but I can't really do that. But he said, you just have to do it, please. I said, okay, I can do it. And today I call him by his first name. So I think status quo, call him by the last name with the title, unless he says, oh, Nkwocha or Igwe Kelechi, just go ahead and address me as Stan, as Elvis, as Mary. Then he has told you that or she has told you that, then you can go ahead. Else, I think because C demands that you show that type of respect.
Thank you, sir. So someone is asking for link to our WhatsApp group, I believe, on the chat. So is there, if someone can help me share that, I don't want to go out of this screen. Okay, thanks. So the next question says, On average, how much does it cost to get an MSc scholarship in US and Canadian universities?
So I think we might not want to go into a detail of that. That is information you can easily get. Right? A lot of people post
Yeah.
that, and you can actually do that on your own. So let's not. It all depends on what you don't have and what the school require you to get. But the calculation, we can tell you what and what you need to do, like applying for service. But all these costs, they're going to change, especially as Naira is fluctuating. Unless you want the amount in dollars. So it's just what there was a conversation that we held in the group 2 days ago. It was very robust, right? The whole thing is that once you get a scholarship, the amount you will spend to come, you'll be happy. I like the person that was saying that, but you'll be happy to spend it because you know that like your dream is coming true. So any amount you are spending will not be something stressful. You can even borrow. When I was coming to Canada, I mean it. I had to get money from my elder brothers, right? Even if I was on a scholarship, because the scholarship did not pay me as of the starting. But I was happy that when I came here, after getting the money, I sent back to them. So for me, that is not something to worry about. People will come once you get all those evidence that you are going. People, you will see support. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. So yeah, I have this question on the chat. I'm gonna try. If I don't see it here, I'm gonna post it on, the group. So this one says I plan to master in cybersecurity, but I'm torn between US and Canada. Yeah, considering opportunities in both countries. So I don't know if this person already has an offer in both countries or is still trying to decide where to focus on making applications.
Okay, let's just say this person is still trying to decide on where to focus. Let's just say that. What I tell people, and this is also what my mentors told me. Just I think for somebody who is the person said, I don't know if that is the person said, anywhere you get an offer funding and you want to travel once it's not in Nigeria, travel. I don't know if that is patriotic enough, but what I was trying to tell you here, anywhere you get funding, you get funding in US, go there and do your masters. You get funding in Canada, go there and do your master. But you get funding in both countries, like the scenario Kennedy was painting, and you're choosing where to go. There are other things you now have to consider. Things like immigration, like if I finish schooling, will I be allowed to stay in this country after schooling? Some countries, like somebody was asking about Asian countries. Some countries, after you graduate, they don't give you immigration. You don't have health care. You don't have insurance, things like that. So there are things that are beyond just the scholarship. You want to look at, can my family members come to see me? If I have a wife, can my wife come to have children? Can they be allowed to school? All these are the packages you have to look at when you have options of two countries, right? So it's something, then you have to now settle down and weigh the cost of going to these two countries. Canada, where I am, I think with the explosion of a lot of immigrants. So if you get option to come US and Canada, my brother, come visit us at there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So this one, I think Akachuku already said something about this question. Is it mandatory to have a complete knowledge of research skills or software needed for your field of interest before messaging a professor, or one can learn on the job? So this person, if you are just coming, yeah, Akachuku answered this question and he said he must not have 100% knowledge of, the field you are trying to go into. I think one thing to note is your interest and how you're trying to work, based on that interest. Are you like learning or starting to learn because you have an interest in that area? Another thing is maybe before even contacting a professor, you should look at their profile. That's what we always encourage. So you see some things that are relating to, what you already know. I feel that would be easy for you to have a premise to discuss with a professor because you are talking the same language. except you are changing field entirely, which is also one of the questions somebody asked. Yeah, so I don't know, do we need to say more about this too?
So
Just
I think what I want to add, what Akachukwu said is very much is correct, and I supported that. So, but what you want to make sure you're doing, don't demarket yourself. Like say you don't have the skill at the application, like at the emailing level. You can just go and read about it one night and just claim basic knowledge. Right? You can read about it one night, do some examples of if that is a requirement, right? But to just claim that you are totally not knowledgeable in that area at the letter level I will not encourage that. But if it's in an interview, if you have shown strength, depending on this, when you observe, the professor is already liking you, right? It's already showing positivity. Then he asks you, can you do this? Do you know how to use this software? In that case, you have seen that he has liked you up to 80%. This software is remaining. You can say that, or you can now use semantics, although you have not really used this software A, but you have used software B and C, right? And you think that when you come, or within this period, within 1 week, you can take some courses to update your knowledge on the use of this software, right? That becomes a very smart way to answer. That you cover up the answer and not just say, oh no, they don't teach us this software in Nigeria. Nigeria universities are very poor in teaching software. So
thank you, sir. All right, so I think this other one too, we've said something about it. Do graduate schools in Canada have virtual sessions? Which one on attendance leads to free applications? So I think Prof said to email or try to get in touch with the graduate coordinators about this.
And from what we have seen so far, the application fee waiver thing is more common in the US. In Canada, schools that give application fee waiver in Canada are not common, but I know they exist, but it's not a common thing in Canada. But if there's anyone, if we find a list of those type of things, we'll post it on in the group, or you can see them from other groups. Or again, like Kelechi said, email the graduate coordinator and ask them if we have application fee waiver for this. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So this one says, can someone with a bachelor's in arts go for a master's in a science discipline? Yeah.
I don't want to be the only one answering, because anybody say, I actually have an experience in this, but I want somebody else to say something.
Let me go and fish somebody out. Okay. I don't think I've had any experience with anyone, switching from art to science.
Okay, I'll answer. It's possible. So in my like where I did my PhD, there's a program in that it's a non-thesis master's program. So it's in it's in water resource management. People that read law were coming to do that program. People that read journalism, anything, they just, once you have passion to study, they accept you in that master, but you are not funded. It's a paid program. It doesn't mean that they will not support. Like one thing about big schools, if you come there, you can get support when you show that you don't have financial needs. But they were accepting people who are from different fields, arts, this, yeah. So what I'm saying is possible. It might not be something very common, especially for a research-based program, but for non-thesis program, it's something that is people you can do.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, yeah, this one says, can someone with a low CGPA below 3.0 stand a chance to apply for a master's and gain a scholarship? Yeah, so, okay, who is here now that can respond to this.
Those
Let's see.
of us that have low CGPA can respond. It's like we don't have much time again. I'm getting people to talk now. It's like,
Yeah, trying to see if we
so
can wrap this
so
up.
I think I've
possible.
won.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, for low CGPA, you can actually get, just as we've always advised, if your CGPA is low, you don't need to add it to your CV, right? So if you have second class lower, for instance, like the way you're saying 2-2, so you shouldn't even say that you have second class lower division, just say second class. You have second class division, you can just end there instead of lower or upper. These people, they don't really know these things. And then just as everyone have been saying before, your skills and interests are really very important, more than any other thing. So even though you have low GPA, some people actually, even in application, some schools normally have it like if you have low CGPA after your statement of purpose or personal statement, they will have a session where they say, or if you have low GPA below 3.0, most times their own is usually over 4. Or knowing that your own is also low, they want you to still give some additional statements why you had something like that. And then some people write something like, I lost my dad, I lost my sponsor, I lost my mom, or something like that. Someone dear to them, or maybe due to financial problem that their family had during social time, and they were working, hustling, struggling to work and also pay their fees and all that. So low CGPA. The only thing I have noticed is that if someone with first class or strong 2-1 is getting it after 3 or 4 attempts, like reaching out to professors, you yourself should try as much as you can to maybe increase your own by 10 times. Yeah, the possibility is there, but you just need to work harder to get yours. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Nat. So the next one says, what funding options are available for covering visa application and cost of transportation for those who cannot afford cost implications? This person, I believe, is talking based on, is it like after getting admission and getting funding, you're talking about applying for visa and then booking your flight?
Okay. Let me still go for this again. There is this guy, Akachukwu, you know him. That's Felix Atogonon from Benin. He came to Auburn. We got connected through Joy. So he said he was funded for his master's, like this kind of trip thing to Kenya when he had his master's, and then moved to Israel after that. And then even coming to Auburn, he was also sponsored by the same African, there's an African organization that does that. So I will still reach out to him again to know if we can get some of our people apply for this, so that whoever gets admission and funding finally can access such benefits. Yeah. So there are some organizations that do that, but in most cases, your scholarship do not allow for that, except for those established scholarships that Prof mentioned, like MasterCard, ANSWER, PTDF, DAAD. Some of them already have that benefit. Like, okay, they will pay like one-way trip, or they will pay your round trip. That is while going on after completion of your program. But it's not common like getting that from this one that we normally get from professors. Yeah, that's the only difference.
I've actually seen assistantship that covered transportation, like flight, but to a given amount. I think the guy joined he joined the school, University of Alberta last year, and they covered, I think, up to $1,000 for him for transportation. So this scholarship they differ. So, and it depends on the experience. Like, let's say someone like me now, if I need a student, I might, and when I'm writing my proposal for grants, I can factor in those things, cost of doing this, that, and put it as part of what I give to my students because of my experience, right? Then to broaden the scope for this person, other ways you can get funding once everything is said. Family members, at that level, family members, they will be ready to invest in you because they know that you have broken the sorry. They know that you have broken the ceiling, right? They can invest, then they were ready, they want to put their name in the palliative list or on the palliative list, right? So they want to put their name on the palliative list. So that is one. Then another one is crowdfunding. We have a lot of people who have done crowdfunding and it worked. You just have to pray for the right influencer to catch your story. If a good influencer catches your story and he populates it, sometimes you might even get more than you requested. So people have done crowdfunding on Twitter, LinkedIn, and they got so different things work. If you get to that level, it will not stop you. So people will just come to them. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So
and I think we in our group we have also had somebody who sponsored 2 people for application. So it's like this thing they come. Maybe in the future might start seeing people who will sponsor you for visa, sponsor you for this. So that's why it's good that people get blessed. People get blessed, they can start trying to see where they can do their own help.
okay, thank you, sir. So this one says, is it a good idea to use generic cold emails and CVs? Okay. Trying to see who we answer now. Moses. Is Moses still here?
Yes, Moses is still here. So you talked about using generic cold mails and CVs. Well, I would say that it's not a good thing. You should always tailor your CV and the cold mails to yourself and your experiences, because we all have individual experiences. Your kind of experience might not be my kind of experience, even though it's similar, it's still different. So you should also tailor that CV to your own personal experience. Yes, there are good emails, good CV templates that you could use, but also make sure that you're tailoring that to your own experience. And you also talked about generic cold emailing professors. I would not advise using generic cold emailing professors. Each professor, they have their different research interests. So it's just like you saying you want to use one particular email for every professor. Just like Professor Diego mentioned, he talked about reading about this professor and their work, the conferences they've held. So if you have just one particular type of email, it might not work out in this very situation. So it's always advisable to tailor every CV to every cold email to a particular professor. Just restructure. It's still the same structure, but then the information contained inside should be different. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this one says, can one apply to a school first and wait for admission before paying application fees? Yeah, so if I understand you correctly, you are making an application on the school website, but you want to wait until they give you admission before paying the application fee. I don't think you are able to submit an application until you pay the fees. Or if you submit an application, they don't start considering it until you pay your application fee. Well, that's based on the little I know. Someone else can, throw more light on that.
Yeah, I think what you said is that's it. Like most times nobody will touch application until you pay. And it's just common sense, right? It makes sense that you don't start investing in your application when you have not paid. The good thing is that some schools with one application fee, you can apply to 2 different departments. Like my school, they do that. Like where I did my PhD, McGill, they do that. With one application, you can apply to 2 different departments, which is good. So something to think about. But if it's required that you have to pay the fee, if you don't pay it, then consider it that you have not applied. It's miracle. You know, Nigeria, miracle happens a lot. So miracle.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. One more thing too. I know some programs too. What they do is, depending, just have to make inquiries about that for the school. For instance, Auburn University Department of Chemistry and Colorado State University Civil Engineering Department. If you're able to get a professor and you're applying to the department, so the department will review. Once they recommend you, they will waive that themselves. Like, is that they are the one that normally pay on your behalf to graduate school and then submit your name for admission and funding. Yeah. So you just have to check if something like that exists in the program you're interested in. If not, then you have to go ahead and pay. Yeah.
I think there's something else. I just remember that it was I think one of our mentees had an issue of paying. Then there was somebody he contacted. Is he pay for me guy? He pay for me app guy, something like that. And they paid for him. I think he had to show that, like he had to give them some information. I don't know if anybody still remembers that. I think it was Frank FFP. There was a time he was at a stage of paying for application, and it was like, then he contacted somebody, told him to contact this pay for me guys, and once they reviewed his document and they paid for him. So don't be scared to ask questions like that. I think that's we saw that I don't know what it checked, whether it checked his qualification to see if it stands the chance of getting the application before they paid for him. I don't know what criteria they use to choose who they pay for or not, but I know Frank had that. He came back and said that, oh, these people paid. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So the next one says, please, how do I choose a research interest that will align with the professor's interests? I personally think the question should be the other way around. How do I select? No, hold on. A research interest.
No, I think
I'll find, okay.
it's okay. I understand the question. So I wanna give an analogy. I believe that this person is a Nigerian, and I'm assuming that maybe this person is an Igbo, an Igbo person. So not being ethnic anything, but let's say you are hungry of ofaku. You know what is ofaku, right? And there are 7 restaurants along your street, and they put it on their menu what they sell. One of them says they sell Indomie. Another one says they sell fried rice. Another one says they sell ofo ogbono, na ofo onugbu. Another one now says they sell mashed potato. So you are hungry of what? Ofaku. Which one will you go for? Is it not the one that sells ofaku? Because they have what you are looking for. That is how you're going to choose. So you have an interest, right? Let's say you are into artificial intelligence, use of artificial intelligence in maybe precision agriculture. Then when you go to the website of a university, the faculty, you look at the faculty, you read their profile one by one. Very short profile. If I want to read the first 2 sentences, you will know the interest of the professor. So let's say you see a professor who says that he is working on the use of AI and AI and machine learning to enhance precision agriculture, something like that. Then that is it. That's the person that has what you're looking for. Then you can make a list of them. You can make a list of them. That is you can make a list of those professors, because there might be more than one. You make a list, then later on get their email, then them. You can now contact them one after the other, like we have said, when you have get the information that relates to that very professor. I hope that helps.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So this one says, what is the strength of having publication or publications during application? Yeah, so I might want to use myself to, make an example here. So when I applied, I didn't have a publication. To answer your question, strength of having publication, when you have publication, I mean, your chances of getting accepted gets pretty high, but that doesn't stop you from, applying, especially if you're going maybe for a master's degree, even for a PhD. So not having publication doesn't stop them from giving you admission or from accepting you into a lab. But yeah, it does have, significance when you're talking about strength compared to those who do not have publication, especially in a very competitive position. Yeah, so that's what I have to say, but that shouldn't deter you from applying. So I don't know if any
I will
more.
give an example because this person looks like he has a lot of publications. So what is the strength of having publications? It didn't say of not having publications. So I'll take it that you have. So if you have publication, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, for at the level of undergraduate, that is good enough. And it gives you, for me, publication just it makes you talk less. Having publications and you went for an interview, it makes you talk less because you have evidence. Like, what is how are you, like, can you tell us your research interest? You already know what to say. And you can say that you have this paper, you have published, you have this. So you talk less because you have examples to show. Then whether or not publications matter depends on the professor. So the professor where I did my postdoc, the professor is a paper lover, is paperphilic. So there is this undergraduate he accepted. That undergraduate student, before he joined our group, he had up to 8 publications. And those publications, they are also in good journals. So you cannot compete. Like whether if you like say publication don't matter, but you cannot compete with that guy. Having 8 publications as an undergraduate, he was the talk of our lab. My professor is proud of him, talks about him. Even before he came, he was already sharing his information. Look at this guy. I have never seen anybody like him for all this kind of thing. So some professors, that publication is like a magnet, it magnets them. But some people don't care. Like when I was leaving the group, I told him, I said, if you accepted me into your group based on my publication, because when I joined his group, I only had 1 publication after my PhD. It was after then when I came to him that we now, like, the fire entered and it became like a wave. I was like, if you looked at publication to accept me, maybe you would have counted me out. But I think by now the story must have changed. I was like letting you know that it should lower the bar a little bit on this publication thing, because some people, not that they don't know how to write, but maybe they have not been shown the way on how to write. They just need somebody to guide them. So it depends on the professor, but having it is a good thing.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So before I answer this last one, there was one before this. The person posted it on the question and answer section of.
And Kelechi will start trying to round up, right?
Yes, sir. We just have 2 questions more. So this person says, for someone who already had a master's 8 years ago and intending to go for another master's, though in the same department, but another area of concentration, is it okay to let the professor know in the cold email? I don't know if we can see this question. So it's on the Q&A, part of Zoom. It says, for someone who have had masters 8 years ago and is now trying to go for another masters now in the same course, but different area of concentration. And the person is asking whether it's okay to let the professor know during the cold emailing process.
So what I would say is, it's gonna be a case by case thing. If you have, because if you have a master's already and you have a undergraduate, you just have to understand that, like, I know we said that the time difference doesn't matter, but sometimes I think it matters. If you finished school 10 years ago and you have not done anything, it look like this person is redundant. So what's like, you know that school comes with, like, if you've not been into academic for a while, it takes some time to come back, right? So that showing that masters might just help you show that you have made a little progress academically after your undergraduate. Then another thing you have to look at is transcript. Knowing if you supply undergraduate and masters, then you are going to pay for your transcript undergraduate and masters for the school, because it's what you say you have that they're going to judge you with, right? And that can also be a good thing, because the person will be like, okay, if you have done a master's before, then you have more experience, because you already, like, graduate school is not new to you again, right? Then the person, if you are interviewing that person, the person is interviewing you, you also be ready to answer why you want to do a second master's in that area, because that will be a question, like, why not just go for PhD? So that will be one of the questions that will be coming. Why do you want to do a second master's? So you have a strong reason why you want to do a second master's. That is what I see. Whether it's going to make them not choose you, I don't think it has any negative impact. So the impact will be more economy, like you providing 2 transcripts, and also it's going to be a strength because it shows you have done something. Then if you have published something, because after doing that master, you should have published something, that can also be strength there, right? So the person will know that they're not taking they will say that they are taking a mature student, and sometimes having a mature student just helps, because there are some basic errors you will not make because you're already mentally mature, right? So, yeah.
Thank you, sir. So the final question we'll take today: is it advisable to edit letter of English language proficiency for different applications instead of writing to your undergrad school every time you're applying?
Do you really write every time? I thought they just give you the letter and that's why, like, I just got the letter once. I used it when I was applying to schools in UK. I was using it for different schools. So, and I think that is the experience of a lot of us here. Once you have that letter, it's most times it's addressed to whom it may concern. I think that will be what you want to look at when you have to get a proficiency letter. You should address it to whom it may concern and not to a given school. Then in that case, it becomes a document you can use for different schools. So take note of that. Address your proficiency letter to who it may concern, not to any specific school.
Thank you very much, sir. So please, if you still have more questions, you can still use the Slido link between now and the 4th of July, and it will still be active. We can keep reposting questions from there on the WhatsApp group. And then if you're not on the WhatsApp group, please, you can message, you can send a message directly on the chat and I'll send you the link. We don't want people joining this, people who are already in one of the groups to join this second group now. So I can send you the group directly. Yeah, thanks.
Maybe for the benefit of those who are here, let's say somebody they have not responded to your question, and we can just say let's just take 1, maybe 2 more questions from somebody who think, oh, this thing has not been well, but we have been answering, but nobody is even saying that, oh, the answer was good. So just, if you think that we did not address your question very well and you just want to ask more further for clarification, I think we can just give the next 2 minutes for that, just to make sure that we are not missing, like, because it's like one waiting all this while, not really had feedback from people that we have been giving the answer.
Okay, so yeah, we have 2 hands raised here. So there is Mustafa, Saidu, and Bolaji again.
I think Bolaji has raised that hand since.
Okay, so Mustafa, can you quickly let us know what your question is?
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, first of all, I would like to extend my profound gratitude to the my question is, I want to ask three questions. The first question is, I want to ask, how can a person contact a graduate school coordinator for the application fee waiver? As for example, we have the stating that we can English because we were studying in an English language. So how can we contact them for this waiver? And the second thing is, we like as in our my discipline is fisheries and aquaculture. I studied fisheries and aquaculture. I can see some of the adverts and some of the professors with that in my research interest. So, but in one way or the other, the obstacles may be sometimes lack of great CGPA. I have 2-1, but the CGPA is not like 4 point. It is just 3.6. So how can we improve our profile so that we can be able to make the change possible? And how can we search for our study area effectively? So that's my question. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mustafa. To search for your study area, I think we said that when we started. So everybody's study area will be in school, and in that school will have a department. So an easy way to do it is to just use any search engine. Example, Google. You can Google. Let's say if you choose your country that you want to study. Let's say you want to study in the United States. You can just Google fishery and aquaculture department in United States universities or universities in the US. That can be a good place to start. If you don't find something, you just refine your search, right? It will give you a list of schools that does something like that. So that do something like that. So once you get that school, you go to the department that you think will do fishery and aquaculture, and you look for professors in that department and read. Every school has a list of their professors in their department. Then you can read about what they do. Then from there you see the professor's email address. Then you contact them. So that is what you do. For your CGPA, you said it's 3.6, and one of our admin that spoke here, I will not call the person's name, actually had a CGPA of 3.61, and the person is in the US, scholarship, masters. So what the person did was, the person did West. So 3.6 would be good on a scale of 5. Most schools, their requirement is that you have they have a CGPA of 3.2 out of 4. If you do West evaluation, sometimes West evaluation will boost your CGPA. That was what it did for that for that admin. So the person did a West evaluation and found out that the West evaluation actually boosted the CGPA. I think it's because they do West evaluation do cost by cost calculation. So it gives more weight to some costs and something like that. So that in that case, if you want to do a West evaluation, which should be good, but if you do West evaluation, you can actually have your transcript in the database, and they can help. You don't need to apply for transcript every time. So you can be asking them to send your transcript to different schools that you're applying to. I think that is one of the advantages of doing a West evaluation also. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have one other person over.
US evaluation, sir, is it I think it is just like GRE or something. Maybe the amount or is expensive like the English proficiency exams and the GRE test, or the amount of payment.
Yeah, it's expensive. I think as of when it's between when the person did it last time, between let's say 180 and 300. Let's say you're going to 180 and $300.
Wow.
So I don't know if it has changed. So it's something you have to look in. But you can ask that question on the group, on the WhatsApp group you are there. Maybe the person will direct the person to respond to you directly on maybe the cost of doing a West evaluation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Oh, should we wrap it up here or?
Maybe let's take on Paul then. That'll be
Okay. Paul, are you there?
Good evening, Prof. Good evening, everyone. My question is, I'm currently an undergraduate studying petroleum engineering, and with the way the relevance is, like the way the world is moving, so I've been thinking of whether to do maybe something related to tech or chemical engineering in my PhD.
okay.
Um,
Yeah. So if you think that petroleum engineering will not be relevant again, there are a lot of people who have switched. You can move to depending on the part of petroleum engineering that you have interest, you can move to something else that's close to what you have. You can move to chemical, you can move to environmental engineering. There's somebody who I know did petroleum engineering, so now he's doing his environmental engineering, doing his PhD in Canada. So it's a good. You can also move to tech. So tech, one thing about tech is that tech is like an area that you can have tech in agriculture, tech in engineering, tech in marketing, tech. So tech is just an area that anybody can come in. Once you have some, maybe what they want to look at is your interest and willing to learn. So I think tech, people in tech, they are open to receive anybody that has a background in something. They know that tech is no man's area. It's an area like a tool for other areas. That's how I see it. Maybe I might be wrong.
Yes, sir. So you did not ask my last questions. I asked about the how can we contact the graduate school coordinator for the for the English proficiency test waiver, and we have the language of instruction later.
Okay. Oh, so again, the way you contact your graduate program coordinator is they for every school there's an email. They have an email for whoever is the graduate program coordinator. So you just have to draft your email, but the message, what you have to, there are a lot of people who have, there are a lot of templates flying around on how you want to draft it. So you just want to make sure you tell your story, why you, let's say if you are going for a waiver, for English proficiency waiver, you have to let them know that you did your schooling, that you are from this, you're from a country that English is the official language, and you did all your education in English, and you are backing it up, and you have a letter from the registry of your school that shows that. It's left for them to say that they're going to accept it. Sometimes some schools will accept that, sometimes they will not accept it. But I know a lot of schools waive English proficiency test for Nigerians, and even like for people in Western, like for those from Ghana, but they know that these people, their English is the official language, right? So if you have a school that has not waived it, you can contact them with this fact that you are from this country and English is the official language, and you have done all your programs in English. Then you are backing it up with a letter of proficiency from your school.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
We really appreciate.
Somebody is saying, please, I want to let know if I want this to have a supervisor before applying to schools of choice. You don't need a supervisor to apply to schools of choice, but having a supervisor or contacting one increases your chances. So we have had people who got admission without funding. They have to go back and start looking for supervisors, right? So if you already had a supervisor, then it increases your chance of funding. So something you want to think about. We've also talked about low CGPA. We'll answer those questions. I'm just looking at the chat. Please. Okay, we've also considered that. Okay, I think we have done well for ourselves. So if there's any other question, ask it on the Slido or ask it in the group. We have a lot of people who are responding to questions in the group these days. Once again, I want to thank everyone for attending. We have stayed here for more than 1 hour. We're going to 2 hours. Thanks to all our admin. Thanks to everybody that contributes to the success of this group. All we want is people to be empowered and go and study what they love under funding without much financial stress. So thank you, Casey, for organizing. Things and round up.
Thank you so much, Prof, for your time. We really appreciate, as always. Thank you for looking out for us and always, making our time to be here with us too. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your month and evening.
Sure.